has been on this channel in a live format. बीच में मैंने कुछ अपने क्रिकेट जर्नलिज्म को लेके कुछ किस्से सुनाया था मैंने आपको, बट कुछ काम के वक्त बहुत मैं बिजी हो गया था। बल्कि मैं आज ही सुबह 5:30 पौने 6 बजे घर आया हूँ मुंबई से। मैंने 3 बजे की फ्लाइट ली आज सुबह बॉम्बे से। There's been a lot of work and then frankly with like I've told some people जो पूछते हैं यहाँ पे कि भाई आप आजकल क्रिकेट फेमस पे क्यों नहीं आ रहे हो, तो मैं आपको बता चुका हूँ कि मैं हर पिछले 3 महीने से मैं हर मंडे वेंसडे और फ्राइडे जो ग्लैंस एक मोबाइल स्क्रीन है वहाँ पे मेरा एक चैट शो चलता है जहाँ पर हम बहुत सारी बातें करते हैं क्रिकेट को लेके। तो इन तीनों शोज हफ्ते में 3 बार ये शोज करके अपने बाकी काम करके थोड़ा ट्रैवल करके मुझे बिल्कुल वक्त ही नहीं मिला मैचेस देखने का। और दूसरी बात मैं आपको बिल्कुल सच सच कहूँ, क्योंकि मैं आपसे बिल्कुल झूठ नहीं कहना चाहूँगा, जो ये T20 मैच हैं जो जाते हैं रात तक 11 साढ़े 11 तक, उस समय दोस्तों अगले दिन को देख के और बाकी काम को देख के मेरी हिम्मत नहीं होती है लाइव आने पे उस समय। तो माफी चाहूंगा कि इतने समय बाद मैं यहाँ पे आपके साथ जुड़ा हूँ, बट ऑफ कोर्स अ टेस्ट मैच इज अ फार मोर प्रेफरेबल टाइम पोस्ट अ मैच। आप पूरा मैच देख के आप अपने बाकी काम निपटा के फिर आपके साथ मैं जुड़ सकता हूँ। So it's good to be back and I'd love to see your questions coming. Before we get started on today's show, which is of course the discussion about day one of India versus Sri Lanka at Mohali, जो कि विराट कोहली का 100 टेस्ट मैच है। Let's see if anyone has joined in here. Do we have any questions? चलिए फिलहाल तो नहीं है, I'm sure आप लोग भी busy हैं। ये थोड़ा awkward टाइम होगा आपके लिए क्योंकि अभी आप में से बहुत लोग ऑफिस में होंगे या ऑफिस से आ रहे होंगे, बट यही मेरे लिए एक कन्वीनियंट टाइम है क्योंकि फिर रात को दोस्तों लेट हो जाता है बाकी कामों से फुर्सत में। बट अगेन it's been a very very good day for India. 357 for the loss of 6 wickets. अगर आप स्कोर कार्ड देखेंगे तो आपको लगेगा कि यार हाँ किसी ने एक बड़ी पारी नहीं खेली, किसी ने 100 नहीं बनाया था, लेकिन अगर आप रन के हिसाब से देखें तो 357 for 6 at the end of day one is a very very good score, and it's one of those scores you expect India to put up on such tracks. Unfortunately no one did go on to get that 100. Rishabh Pant again falling in the 90s. How many times doston have we seen Rishabh Pant get out for 95, 96? I think he's gotten out 3 times on 96 and he's got a couple 94s and a 92. इससे साफ जाहिर होता है कि ऋषभ पंत 100 के लिए नहीं खेलते। He is here to do his job. He is here to get the team out of a hole. And once again, to his credit, we saw Rishabh Pant do that. There you go. Anonymous has said 5 times. There you go. 5 times he's gotten out in the 90s. और अगर मैं गलत नहीं हूँ, this was the first time when he got out in the 90s not playing an expansive shot. I remember in Chennai, I remember in Ahmedabad, I remember in Rajkot, him getting out in the 90s against West Indies and against England, playing that shot, caught at point, caught somewhere in the deep. This time, he did not get out playing a shot. And the fact that he stood there at the crease for what seemed like, minutes, और मुझे लगा कि शायद सामने वाले नॉन स्ट्राइकर एंड से या फिर टीम डगआउट से किसी को आना पड़ेगा ऋषभ पंत को खींचना क्रीज से, because he just looked forlorn. But look, I'm a big fan of him and I think once again he underlined his credentials. Sumit Jain is saying hello Jamie. Hello Sumit, how are you? Thank you for joining the show. I think once again Rishabh Pant has done his job. He got India out of a bit of a hole. Wickets had fallen. Embul Dunia was bowling well, but he took on Embul Dunia and he just played that typical counter attacking Rishabh Pant innings, which it's a pleasure to say, we've become accustomed to. मैं जानता हूँ, बिल्कुल जानता हूँ, when he gets out early, like he did in South Africa, on the go, second ball, third ball to Rabada, nicking behind, first ball in a match, finding the fielder at deep cover. We do say, yeah, Rishabh Pant, kya kar rahe ho? And then of course the knives come out and the criticism comes out. But as critical as we should be when Rishabh Pant gets out early, मैं अपने viewers को दोबारा एक बार ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि back him, because it's when he does things like this 96, he's just so brilliant to watch. And सबसे important, more than what I feel, more than what you feel, Rishabh Pant contributes for the team on days like this. And yes, he should be kicking himself for not getting 100, but job done. And I don't think Rishabh Pant जो है वो 100 के लिए खेलते हैं, वो मजे के लिए खेलते हैं, वो टीम के लिए खेलते हैं, and he backs that approach. And if you've been on this stream before, you've heard me say कि मेरा ये मानना है दोस्तों कि ऋषभ पंत will succeed more often than he fails in this maverick approach of his. But going back to the toss, क्योंकि ये है day one of the series, Rohit Sharma again, his luck at the toss continued, won the toss in his very very first match as captain, chose to bat. It was a no-brainer. And while Rohit Sharma, we can say that he He again got out to that familiar way of hooking to the long leg fielder. Whether or not Rohit Sharma is worried about his form, that only he can answer. But overall, when a team gets to 357, it has to say it was their day. Abhay Bisht हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं पूछ रहे हैं Jay भाई with Vihari's innings today, do you think Pujara will make a comeback? Ranhane, look, we know the long rope that Rahane and Pujara got from this team management. The same Rahane and Pujara, Abhay, we have to acknowledge, had not got that kind of faith from Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri in the earlier part of Virat Kohli's captaincy. South Africa, West Indies, Sri Lanka, England even, these two teams were dropped. But once Virat Kohli understood कि इन दोनों player की अहमियत क्या है, then he backed them fully. You can also counter that by saying that when the runs had dried up, especially for Rahane, perhaps they should not have been backed for that long. I'm a big fan of both of them. If you've ever been on Cricket Fables, or if you've heard me speak on my live Glance show, I have said that I think the rope extended them was just a bit too late, because it's not about getting 30s and 40s and 60s. When you go for 3 years, in Pujara's case, not getting 100, questions will be asked. I would say, just to get back to your question, अब इन दोनों बल्लेबाजों को डोमेस्टिक क्रिकेट जाके रणजी ट्रॉफी पे जाके इनको अपने डोमेस्टिक टीम्स मुंबई और सौराष्ट्र के लिए बहुत सारे रन बनाने पड़ेंगे, लेकिन बहुत सारे शतक बनाने पड़ेंगे to come back. But as we all know, when you're 34, 35, you're in that bracket, very, very hard to come back. Plus, we see the competition squeeze for places, Shubman Gill is not getting a game, Shreyas Iyer is there, Hanuma Vihari is there, Prithvi Shaw is around, Mayank Agarwal is there, KL Rahul is there, Surya Kumar Yadav है, Priyank Panchal है, तो हमारे पास बैटिंग डेप्थ बहुत है, and so it's very, very hard to see these guys coming back, just because it's they're in that 34, 35 bracket. Do they have the fire to score? Do they have the fire to keep going? Plus India is playing a lot of their cricket now at home for the next year or so. And when you have guys like Vihari doing the job, Shreyas doing the job, it's very, very hard. So I would be surprised if either of Pujara or Rahane made a comeback. But that's just my view. और ये इंडियन क्रिकेट है दोस्तों, यहाँ पे बहुत कुछ होता है. Things keep changing. Who knows? Sumit Jain, big fan of yours, sir. Hope to meet you. Thank you, Sumit. Thank you so much for commenting, and thank you for joining this live stream. Anonymous is saying another bad day for Kohli. Yes, literally about an hour and a half ago on my Glance live show where I was talking cricket, I said that such days have perhaps become the norm for someone of Virat Kohli, because he didn't look bad. He was applying himself. He was really trying to stay at the crease. वो crease पे टिके रहने की कोशिश पूरी कर रहे थे. But then again, he got out after getting a start. And I think more than this lack of that 100, 71 कब आएगा? I think more than that, it's the fact that Virat Kohli is getting starts and getting out. और मैं इस बात पे थोड़ा गौर करना चाहता हूँ कि विराट कोहली अगेन स्पिन पे आउट हुए थे. और एक ट्वीट था कल which had gone viral and which was doing the rounds of social media. Not long after Virat Kohli got out, someone had put up a tweet this morning at 12:46 a.m. saying that Virat Kohli will get out for 45 of 100 balls, getting bowled to left-arm spinner Embul Dunia. He will stand at the crease and his eyes will go big and he'll make it seem like he's stunned. वही हुआ था, with the difference being that he did not play 100 balls. He played, I think, 76 balls. And look, we can get into the nature of that tweet and all, but the point is that people have now expected Virat Kohli to get to the 40s and the 50s, but then get out to spin. And for me, the most alarming part in this slump that he's had is, in fact, the number of times he has gotten out to spin across formats, be it Mitchell Santner, be it Ish Sodhi, be it Moeen Ali, be it Adil Rashid, be it Aiden Markram. During the South Africa one-day series, Markram was opening the bowling in South Africa and bowling his part-time off-spinners and getting Virat Kohli caught at cover, and then he was getting caught at short mid-wicket. तो ये जो एक गेम में जो बदलाव आया है, और जब हम गेम की बदलाव बात करते हैं विराट कोहली के बारे में, the fact that he's constantly changed his game over the last 6-7 years to succeed, but now that game is not working and he's trying new things, but it's not getting the desired results. I really feel for Virat Kohli, and yes, it was a bad day by his standards. Other batsmen would have taken 45 of 76 balls, but not Virat Kohli. Not the pressure of playing in his 100 Test match. And the way that India, to my mind, are on track for 450, I don't think अगर India दोबारा batting करेगी, तो विराट कोहली की बैटिंग आएगी. So yes, another bad day by his standards. And when will that century come? I frankly don't know. But again, if you look at the bigger picture, India got to 357 for 6 with the fact that they have Jadeja on 46, Ashwin there, and Jayant Yadav to come, a man who's got a test century. I think India are on track for 425 at least, which, given Sri Lanka's batting problems of late, should be enough. And also, I want to get your views. जो viewers हमारे साथ यहाँ पे जुड़े हैं, how do you think? What do you think about India's decision to play 3 spinners? मैं frankly थोड़ा shocked था, थोड़ा surprised था कि जयंत यादव को यहाँ पे एक match मिला. Not about his skill. मैं उनकी skill के बारे में बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. I just thought they perhaps would have shown that faith, that nod to someone like a Mohammad Siraj, who has bowled so well, barring one match. The last match he played in South Africa, he's really done the job. He plays a lot more Test cricket overseas than in India. I think, given the Mohali track and the kind of conditions we've seen, the way that Pacers have performed overall at that venue, I would have thought perhaps it would have been a nod to him. But Rohit Sharma, we can expect things to be a little different from the Virat Kohli time. Rohit Sharma is a slightly different captain. He's one who's perhaps going to take a bit more risks. और मुझे लगता है कि रोहित और राहुल द्रविड़ को लगा कि यार यहाँ पे हमें अपनी बेस्ट बॉलिंग अटैक फील्ड पे उतारनी चाहिए. एंड इफ दैट बेस्ट bowling attack means a third spinner, great, because we've seen the Sri Lankans do have batting problems against spin, against the West Indies. The West Indies spinners were getting a lot of wickets. So we hope for a contest, but I think once India crossed that 425, even the 450 mark, अगर बात वहाँ तक गई तो ये मैच शायद 4 दिन में खत्म होगा. क्यों? Because like I said, India are so dominant घरेलू टेस्ट मैचेस में, and Ashwin and Jadeja have points to prove. Jadeja's coming back, a lot of things, and even Jayant Yadav will have a point to prove. So I think if India bat once, bat big, they should have enough firepower to bowl out Sri Lanka twice. And I don't see this match going into the 5th day. Abhay Bish keh rahe hain, Jamie bhai, did you watch Australia versus Pakistan? No, I did not. I did not because I knew that this was such a monumental test match. So I was following it online on Ball by Ball on Crick Info. But I did not watch a ball at all. Quality shot. Hey guys, how are you guys? Good to see you back on YouTube. Hello. Thoughts on India versus SL and Pakistan versus Australia? Like I just told our viewer Abhay Bish, I did not watch a ball of Australia Pakistan, but I was following it online, so I cannot give any gyan, any analysis based on something that I have not seen. But look, there's a lot of speculation about that track there in Pakistan, how it's going to play. Nathan Lyon had his views, and when a team goes and just they got 245 for 1 when one batsman, when all 3 batsmen get set on a track like that, you really feel for the team that has to bowl. And the way Pakistan are batting, with the kind of batting to come on day 2, you might even see Babar Azam say, "Yaar, koi nahi, ape 2 din batting kar lenge." So it's going to be a very, very tough tour for Pakistan. Of course, we know that for 24 years now, no Australian team has toured Pakistan. So none of these players have ever been there. They don't have ideas. They don't have people to fall back and ask questions from. Had Justin Langer been around, he could have given them some tips, because he scored a fantastic 116 in that second test back in 1998. So we knew that this is going to be a very, very tough tour for Australia. And 245 for 1 on day 1, बहुत मुश्किल रहेगा, because Pakistan have been so dominant at home, especially with the range of spinners they have. I'm kind of surprised to see that Yashir Shah has sort of fallen off the grid. Leg spin does not really seem to be the flavor anymore. But Pakistan have got good left arm spinners. They got good range. A couple of their spinners are in that 30 plus bracket, which is, I think, also another trend we've seen in the last 7-8 years. But the last 10 years, Pakistan has sort of gone and put a premium on getting experienced older bowlers who perhaps slogged for a decade on domestic cricket, and that's what we're seeing now again. But overall, yes, I did not actually physically watch a ball of Australia-Pakistan, so I shouldn't be the one commenting. But when you look at the scorecard, 245 for 1 with batsmen getting 50s and 100s, it's Pakistan's day entirely. As for India-Sri Lanka, quality shot, my friends there in the UK, look, I watched all of it despite getting home at 5:45 in the morning after getting a red-eye flight 3 in the morning from Bombay back to Delhi. I was there for a shoot yesterday and another launch of a web series that came out this morning. But I did manage to stay awake for the whole day and watch all of all of India, Sri Lanka. Like I said, if you join the stream late, when a team gets to 357 for 6 and you have Jadeja, Ashwin and Yadav to come, you're looking at putting on 450 and then burying Sri Lanka from the contest. So that's my view. जिमी भाई अभी अभी अंधेकी 2 फिनिश किया डॉक्टर इजाज असर यू मीन हाँ डॉक्टर आइजक जी जी ऑसम ऑसम मैच नहीं देखा चलिए हार्दिक भाई आप तो उनमें से हैं जो काफ़ी दिनों से कह रहे हैं हफ्तों से कह रहे हैं कि जिमी भाई आप वापस आइए शो पे मैं आपको बता चुका हूँ बाकी कमेंट्स में कि पिछले 3 हफ्ते से मैं ट्रैवल कर रहा था और मैं अपने ग्लांस लाइव शो जो मैं हर मंडे वेंसडे फ्राइडे करता हूँ लाइव 5 से 5:30 बजे वहाँ पे मैं सिर्फ क्रिकेट की बातें कर रहा था तो इस बीच देन आई हैड माई मदर वॉज हियर देन माई इन लॉज केम एंड द फैक्ट दैट द T20s गेट डन एट 11 PM यार दोस्तों मेरे पास हिम्मत और ताकत नहीं थी रात को 11:30 बजे एक लाइव करना तो माफ़ी चाहूँगा पर हार्दिक भाई गुड टू सी यू अगेन एंड आई होप यू लाइक माई वर्क as Isaac Ezra the I wouldn't say doctor balki he's well go watch the show I don't want to give too much away about the villainous character that I play but हम यहाँ बात कर रहे हैं क्रिकेट पे India versus Sri Lanka, Pak versus Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, Women's World Cup, cricket all around. Yes, if you're a cricket fan, there's a lot to digest, a lot to take in. There's also the IPL starting on March 26th, which is going to send all of us into a tizzy because the matches go for late. And I don't know, I'm already thinking, how am I going to do my shows during the IPL? But खैर हम कर लेंगे ये जो चैनल है क्रिकेट फेबल्स ये तो मैं शौक के लिए चलाता हूँ तो जब फुर्सत मिलता है तो मैं आता हूँ आप लोग से जुड़ने if you happen to watch this series that I started a few weeks ago in which I give incidents जो मेरे क्रिकेटिंग रिपोर्टिंग की जो करियर से मैंने कुछ किस्से सुनाए थे माइकल एथरन को लेके और नासिर हुसैन को लेके बल्कि वो एपिसोड हुआ नहीं अब तक also again the Misbah let me know how you like these shows because while it's fun to do lives I thought rather just doing match reviews मैं आपको थोड़ा यूनिक कंटेंट देने की कोशिश करूंगा तो उस बीच मुझे आइडिया आया कि क्यों ना मैं अपने क्रिकेट करियर से क्रिकेट जर्नलिज्म करियर से जो किस्से हुए यादगार मज़ेदार किस्से like the Misbah one and the Atherton one क्यों ना मैं आपके साथ शेयर करूं if you've seen those if you like those do let me know how you like them so that I can keep that series going अबे बिश थोड़े क्रिकेट से हट गए हैव यू एवर मेट रस्किन बॉन्ड ये सवाल बहुत बार मुझसे पूछा गया and I have only met Mr. Ruskin Bond once many years ago hardly for a minute and a half or 2 minutes he was friends with my father of course who also grew up in Missouri and I remember we were walking to the main bazaar and we met Mr. Bond on the main road and he and my father spoke for a few minutes but beyond that I have never had the opportunity to meet Mr. Bond but people ask me this question a lot getting back to the topic of today's show Hanuma Vihari. I want to talk about Hanuma Vihari. Hanuma Vihari. Acha, Abe, you also said it was talk. Thank you for sharing that. That means we both went to the same school. What year did you graduate? Let me know, Abe. So getting back to Hanuma Vihari. When Rahane and Pujara were out of this squad, we basically saw 2 positions, number 3 and number 5. और इसके candidate 3 थे, Shubman Gill, Hanuma Vihari और Shreyas Iyer. Shubman Gill, of course, was in the team before Shreyas Iyer, but he got injured, and then he just came back. I thought maybe they'd give him a chance because of the promise he has. And if you've ever seen me on the show before, you heard me say कि मेरा ये मानना है कि शुभमन गिल का जो लंबी करियर है वो मिडिल ऑर्डर में होगा ना कि ओपनिंग में. But I'm also very glad to see that Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma kept faith in Vihari. क्योंकि अगर हम बिहारी की बात करें, while he's never got the big innings consistently, I feel he's never done anything wrong. You asked him to open in Australia, he blunted the attack, he took body blows. You asked him to come down in the middle order, he did it. And he's played all but 2 test matches, this one being the second. All of his test matches have come in overseas conditions in the era when when the fast bowling has never been more successful. We've seen every team is hunting in pairs. Batting has become tougher. The stats show that in the last 7-8 years, batting in Test cricket has never been tougher collectively. So जब भी हनुमा विहारी को एक काम दिया गया था, एक रोल दिया गया था, मेरे हिसाब से he's done the job pretty blooming well. He was not picked for the home series against Sri Lanka a few months ago. He was instead sent to South Africa with the A team and told to park himself there for 6 weeks before the Indian Test team arrived to acclimatize and to score runs. He did that. He scored a lot of runs for India A in that 3-match red ball series against South Africa. But then come the test series, he was again overlooked, and you felt bad because he's a guy, you can tell he's trying. He's a guy who averages 60 in first class cricket. Where did Hanuma Vihari accumulate that average of 60? Playing in India. He knows these conditions, and I'm very glad to see that he was given another test match to prove himself in India, but also at number 3, because he's often come down the order when wickets have fallen. So the role is very different when you're batting at number 6. मैं खुश हूँ कि उनको ये मौका मिला, और ये भी खुश हूँ कि he got those runs. Yes, he'll be kicking himself for getting out to that drive he played on 57. But just given the competition for spaces इस इंडियन टीम में, मैं बहुत खुश हूँ कि विहारी जो एक सीनियर प्लेयर के रूप में हैं as compared to गिल और श्रेयस अय्यर, उनको मौका मिला. और hats off to, of course, Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma for taking that call, as well as the batting coach, I'm sure. So that was one talking point. The second talking point was Shreyas Iyer. Shreyas Iyer, of course, on debut he got 170 runs. He got 100 in the first innings, and then he in the second innings in Kanpur he got a 50. So in 2 innings on debut he rescued India on a Kanpur track, दोस्तों, जहाँ पे सारे बल्लेबाज ने स्ट्रगल किया, पर उसी ट्रैक पे अय्यर ने इतनी बेहतरीन तरह से खेला. He had a very, very good strike rate. He was attacking, so I'm glad to see that he was extended that faith. He'll also be disappointed with the way he got out, but this just says कि जिस समय इतना competition है दोस्तों बैटिंग को लेके, कि player they're looking over their shoulders, be it test matches, be it T20s, be it one days. And Iyer he's even in the T20 team, and perhaps in the one day team, he's battling it out with his Mumbai teammate Suryakumar Yadav for one spot. Or यहाँ पे भी the team would have probably been very, very they probably would have thought about Shubman Gill, given the fact that he's done well in patches. He's one for the future, perhaps a future captain, perhaps a future middle order batsman or a number 3 batsman. It's also his home ground, the PCA Stadium in Mohali. इनका घरेलू ये ground है, यहाँ पे जानते हैं. But they went for the player who's been in form, irresistible white ball form, you could argue, of Shreyas Iyer. And while nobody got that big innings, the fact that India got to 357. और यहाँ पे मैं एक बार score card खोलूँगा. We have Rohit. What did Rohit got 33 odd? 1 second. Rohit got 33. Sorry, Mayank got 33. Rohit got 29. Hanuma got 58. Virat Kohli got 45. Pant got 96. Shreyas Iyer got 47. तो जो भी आज जो 6 विकेट गिरे हमारे इंडियन टीम के, सबको स्टार्ट मिला. That's also problematic because you don't want starts. You don't want to see Rohit getting out for 29. Once again, caught a long leg off a bouncer. You want to see him really making a statement in his first test match. Saying, what? I'm willing to do whatever it takes to bat as long as possible. So he'll be frustrated. Mayank Agarwal, कब तक इनको मौका मिलेगा? We saw in South Africa, getting starts but just not converting. This was a great chance for Mayank Agarwal to really get a big score again, like we saw him do against New Zealand. पर उन्होंने दोबारा ये नहीं किया था. बिहारी के बारे में हम बात कर चुके हैं, विराट कोहली के बारे में हम बात कर चुके हैं, पंत के बारे में हम बात कर चुके हैं. But Shreyas Iyer getting 27 off 48 balls, the longer such innings continue, that is the 27s and 25s and 33s, जब तक आप 70-80 नहीं मारोगे consistently, तो your place is not going to be held down. और मैं ये भी कह रहा हूँ, ये fully जानते हुए कि रोहित शर्मा ने कहा था इस मैच से पहले कि I want to make people feel secure, I want people to feel like they belong. But it's a great statement, it's a great approach to have in any test team's dressing room. पर जब तक लोग रन नहीं मारेंगे, कंपटीशन दोस्तों इतना तगड़ा है आजकल कि जब तक आप 50s नहीं मारोगे और आप उन 50s को शायद 100 तक कन्वर्ट नहीं करोगे, तो आपके पीछे जो खिलाड़ी हैं उनको पता है कि भाई मैं अगर नेट्स में अच्छा करूँगा तो मेरा मौका आ सकता है. दिस इज द लेवल of competition in the Indian cricket team right now. So yes, there will be a few players saying, यार काश हम आज जल्दी out नहीं होते. Abhay Bisht is still around. Jimmy bhai, don't you think there are only 4 or 5 countries playing competitive test cricket? Australia, England, India, New Zealand and South Africa. मैं ये मानता हूँ अभय कि ये टेस्ट क्रिकेट कभी इस दौर से पहले इतना competitive नहीं था, क्योंकि this is why when the standard somewhat drops, and there are some teams that have dropped, but you're seeing teams who are, no team is dominating continuously. Even India, for all their home success, go to New Zealand and lose 2-0. Australia just blew England away, and now they're struggling. That same Australia was beaten by India, a very weakened Indian team. So my point is, there's because perhaps the quality overall has dipped. But like I said earlier, it's never been harder for batsmen to bat, openers to bat than this period, because we've seen quality fast bowling across. So when the teams are sort of in middling terms, you cannot look at England. England were a top team till a year ago. They then go to Sri Lanka, they win there, they take a 1-0 lead against India, and then they lose. Then they lose to New Zealand. So when teams are going through क्या जो हम कहते हैं हिंदी में उतार चढ़ाव, I still think Test cricket is still very competitive. You are seeing matches get done in 4 days now. You're not getting that many draws, and I think Test cricket should be about getting results. While some draws have always been, epic to watch, you don't want to watch too many high scoring, when teams get 600 runs and then the other team gets 500. This is just utterly meaningless cricket. I just feel the fact that, so it's so unpredictable now, Test cricket, it actually underlines the fact that teams have never been more competitive. You've seen Bangladesh in the last 6-7 years beat Australia in a test match, beat England, Gone are the days when a team can just rock up in Bangladesh and assume that, yeah, we're going to roll them over. So I actually think that Test cricket has never been more competitive. I hope I put my point across to you. Asim is here. Hello, Asim. Welcome. Do you think Gill should be played in for Mayank today? Not today. I think Mayank Agarwal deserved another chance to show what he can do. But अगर ये दूसरी पारी में अगर इनकी बैटिंग आती भी है, and if Mayank Agarwal fails, and I have no doubt that Shubman Gill will come right back into the 11 for the second test match in Bangladesh, because after coming back so strongly with that 150 at the Wankhede in December a couple months ago, Mayank did not grab his chances in South Africa, and I think if he fails again in this Mohali test match, he might struggle to hold down his place, because Gill is definitely one for the future. मानव जावेरी कह रहे वेयर इज अक्षर. अक्षर फिलहाल फुली फिट नहीं है, इसलिए वो यहाँ पे नहीं है, एंड दैट्स व्हाई जयंत यादव हैज गॉट हिज प्लेस. इफ अक्षर वाज फिट, absolutely he'd be playing this match and not Jayant Yadav. Arsh Medra saying hello with HO. Hello Arsh, how are you? What do I think about KL Rahul? Well, आपका सवाल क्या है? KL Rahul the batsman, KL Rahul the captain. अगर KL Rahul के एज द कैप्टन के बारे में आप पूछ रहे हो तो मैं ऑलरेडी कह चुका हूँ इस शो पे और मेरे ग्लांस लाइव शो पे, जो हर मंडे वेडनेसडे फ्राइडे आता है ग्लांस प्लेटफॉर्म पे, कि मुझे लगता नहीं है कि केएल राहुल इज एनीवेयर कैप्टनसी मटेरियल. ही लुक लॉस्ट while leading the Punjab franchise for 3 years in the IPL. He looked lost when he was forced to captain India in that second test match in South Africa. And right now he's also someone who's just not. Look, I feel he's a better option in the middle order. That he's not opening in this match, that he's not playing this match. The team obviously have some plans for him. He's a fantastically talented batsman. He's got hundreds, almost wherever he's gone and played. But the fact that he's not a first pick player right now, it says that the team is perhaps wondering what to do with KL Rahul. So that's my view on him. Asim, Jamie, bhai, will Russia Ukraine be highlighted in cricket? What? As before दोस्त असीम, मुझे आपका सवाल समझ में नहीं आया. एक तो हम रशिया यूक्रेन के बारे में यहाँ क्यों बात कर रहे हैं क्रिकेट चैनल पे, वो मेरे समझ से बाहर है. बट बी हाईलाइटेड इन क्रिकेट एज बिफोर अ फुटबॉल मैच. आई एम नॉट इंटायरली गेटिंग योर क्वेश्चन. इफ यू कैन इलैबोरेट ऑन योर क्वेश्चन आई विल डेफिनेटली ट्राई एंड आंसर इट. बट फिलहाल मुझे आपका सवाल समझ में नहीं आ रहा है असीम भाई. आपको लगता है केएल राहुल बेस्ट टेस्ट प्लेयर है? मतलब अगेन ये सवाल मुझे समझ में नहीं आया. आपको लगता है कि केएल, मतलब तीनों फॉर्मेट से क्या मुझे लगता है कि राहुल टेस्ट में सबसे अच्छे हैं? मैं कहूँगा नहीं. मुझे लगता है कि वो वनडे और T20 में ज़्यादा एक इम्पैक्टफुल प्लेयर रह सकते हैं. बट अगर आपका सवाल यही है, अगर आप कह रहे हो कि इस टीम के बेस्ट प्लेयर राहुल है, बिल्कुल नहीं. इस टीम के बेस्ट प्लेयर अभी भी रोहित शर्मा और विराट कोहली हैं. ये मेरा इस बात पे मुझे ये कहना है. अगर कोई और सवाल नहीं आते दोस्तों तो 7 बज चुके हैं. हाफ एन आवर से मैं आपके साथ यहाँ जुड़ चुका हूँ. मेरी कोशिश रहेगी कि मैं हर दिन इस पूरे मैच का, पूरे सीरीज में मैं आपके साथ तकरीबन यही 6:30 बजे के आसपास जुड़ पाऊंगा. Because like I said, it's a much easier time to have a talk with you as compared to when the T20s get done at 11 o'clock at night. यार उस तब तक तो मेरा दिमाग बंद हो चुका है तब तक. But we have some questions. अजय सिंह, जेमी भाई कैप्टन मटेरियल कोई है? How would we know? लीडरशिप, क्वालिटी, डिसीजन मेकिंग क्या मैटर करता है? बिल्कुल मैटर करता है. ये सवाल जो है आपका अजय सिंह, ये टीम मैनेजमेंट ही बता पाएगी, बिकॉज दे आर द वंस हु आर सीइंग दिस प्लेयर्स डे इन डे आउट। ये इन प्लेयर्स से वाकिफ है, ये इनके टैलेंट से आगे इनके नेचर से वाकिफ है, ये इनके टेम्परमेंट से वाकिफ है। तो ये जो देखते हैं चीज़ें कि टीम इन्वायरमेंट में, टीम बस पे, ड्रेसिंग रूम पे, नेट्स पे, प्रैक्टिस पे, टीम मीटिंग्स में कोई प्लेयर क्या कहता है, कैसे रिएक्ट करता है, ये अक्सर इन चीज़ों को देख के उन्हें वो डिसाइड करते हैं कि ये प्लेयर क्या फॉर्मर कैप्टन है। और ये शायद विराट कोहली और रवि शास्त्री कॉम्बिनेशन की सबसे बड़ी क्रिटिसिज्म ये है कि उन्होंने किसी फ्यूचर लीडर को ग्रूम नहीं किया था। जब तक विराट कोहली कप्तान थे तो लगा था कि शायद विराट कोहली अंत तक, मतलब दुनिया के अंत तक वही रहेंगे, बिकॉज देयर वाज नो यंग प्लेयर ग्रूम्ड। दे हैड अजिंक्य रहाणे द वाइस कैप्टन, नथिंग रॉन्ग विद दैट, ही हैज अ फैंटास्टिक अनबीटन record as captain, पर when he got to 33 34, मेरा ये मानना है कि द टीम शुड हैव सेड, यू नो, इस टीम में वो कौन सा 24 25 26 साल का खिलाड़ी है जो अगले 5 साल तक, जब विराट कोहली इस्तीफा देंगे या जब ये रिटायर होंगे, वो आके इस टीम को लीड कर सके। वो नहीं किया, और इसीलिए हमने देखा है कि एक 35 साल के खिलाड़ी को, यानी कि रोहित शर्मा को, they have now made the captain. And I feel, despite Rohit Sharma's experience as a captain in the IPL, in domestic cricket, he is still a stopgap captain. वो young player कौन है, आपका जो सवाल है, this is the kind of things that Rahul Dravid should now be looking at. Is it Rishabh Pant? Who knows? I don't know, maybe it is, but start that grooming process now. मत वेट करो किसी प्लेयर का कि राहुल 30 के होंगे या 31 के होंगे। आप ऐसे प्लेयर्स को फिलहाल कप्तान मत बनाओ। किसी 26, यू नो, शुभमन गिल को आप देख लो, इज ही स्पीकिंग आउट इन टीम मीटिंग्स, क्या उनमें कुछ लीडरशिप स्किल्स है। बात सिर्फ ये नहीं कि वो डोमेस्टिक क्रिकेट में कोई प्लेयर अपने डोमेस्टिक टीम को लीड करता है, ठीक है, अच्छी बात है, बट उनका वातावरण, यू नो, टीम एनवायरनमेंट में उनकी थिंकिंग क्या है, उनकी स्टेटस क्या है, मैच सिचुएशन को कोई प्लेयर कैसे जज करता है, वो खुद की गेम को कैसे टेम्पर करते हैं मैच में। यू नो, वी हैव सीन ऋषभ पंत चेंज हिज गेम at times to suit India's need. Is that what a future captain is? I don't know. This is what the selectors and this is what Rahul Dravid and the coaching team have to be looking at. Sai Srivastav, why is Prithvi Shaw fully out of reckoning from tests and limited overs? उनको बहुत सारे मौके मिले हैं. I get where the frustration comes from. He's very inconsistent. But I think as far as one day cricket, he's definitely one of those guys. But you know, Surya Kumar Yadav is playing so good right now. You know, KL Rahul, whenever he comes into white ball cricket, excuse me, he does a job. The competition for slots in the white ball teams are so much. I don't think Prithvi Shaw is out of the reckoning. I just feel like he's probably fallen back one notch. He needs another bumper IPL, and I fully believe that he'll come back. And I think Shaw, at least in white ball cricket, will play for India for several years to come. मानव जवेरी, आज डिनर में क्या है जिमी भाई? यार मुझे ऑनेस्टली मालूम नहीं है, क्योंकि जब मैं अपना पिछला शो करा था 5 से 5:30, तो जो मेड थी हमारी वो किचन में कुछ बना रही थी. आई कैन हियर द प्रेशर कुकर गोइंग, एंड आई हैव नॉट हैड टाइम बिटवीन माय 2 shows टू गो इन देयर एंड सी व्हाट्स इन द किचन. तो मेड ने जो बनाया वही खाएंगे हम. अर्श मिश्रा, सर ओडीआईज में श्रेयस को विराट रिप्लेस कर पाएंगे? जरूर कर पाएंगे. जब विराट कोहली का टाइम आएगा इस टीम से, श्रेयस अय्यर बिल्कुल एक अच्छे नंबर 3 बनेंगे इंडिया के लिए. आई हैव नो डाउट. अजय सिंह, राहुल क्या हम लोग अंडरमाइन कर रहे हैं क्योंकि उनके डिसीजन मेकिंग के क्या लीडरशिप में फॉल्ट है और क्या कैप्टनसी के लिए ग्रूमिंग मैटर करता है? बिल्कुल, ये तो मैं ऑलरेडी इस बीच में ऑलरेडी इस पे बात कर चुका हूँ. टीम को ग्रूमिंग की सख्त जरूरत है और केएल राहुल मेरे हिसाब से कप्तान नहीं है. मानव जवेरी, ऋषभ पंत आज डिफेंसिव शॉट खींचते आउट हुआ जबकि इतना अटैकिंग खेला था. बिल्कुल, मैंने कहा था इसी शो पे शुरुआत पे कि मुझे इस बात से कोई हैरानी नहीं कि जो ऋषभ पंत 5वीं बार 90s पे आउट हुए, बट पहली बार जब वो आउट हुए 90s में, तो पहली बार अटैकिंग शॉट खेल के आउट नहीं हुए. थर्ड मैन को नहीं मारा, फाइन लेग को नहीं मारा, गली पॉइंट को कैच नहीं दिया, वो डिफेंसिव शॉट खेल के. और इसीलिए आई थिंक इट टुक हिम सो लॉन्ग टू लीव द पिच. वो बहुत ही फ्रस्ट्रेटेड थे अपने आप से कि यार तू डिफेंसिव शॉट खेल के आउट हुआ. बट जैसे कि मैंने पहले कहा था इस शो पे, मुझे लगता नहीं है कि ऋषभ पंत 100 के लिए खेलते हैं. वो टीम के लिए खेलते हैं, वो इंजॉयमेंट के लिए खेलते हैं. क्योंकि जब जो खिलाड़ी 5 बार 90s पे आउट होता है शॉट मार के, इससे साफ पता होता है कि वो 100 के लिए नहीं खेलते. और इसलिए मेरा ये मानना है, मैं दोबारा कहूँगा, ऋषभ पंत का फ्यूचर बहुत ब्राइट है. अर्श मिर्जा, पंत पर क्या कहोगे? 3.4 इनिंग्स बाद एक अच्छी प्रॉपर. पर ठीक है ऋषभ पंत, मैं तो कितनी बार, आप शायद पहली बार यहाँ पे जुड़ रहे हैं इस शो पे, मैं इतनी बार कह चुका हूँ कि ऋषभ पंत का जो एक स्टाइल है खेलने का, उसमें ज़्यादा बदलाव लाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। ऋषभ पंत और मैचेस आपको जिताएंगे, ना कि हराएंगे या ना कि खराब खेलेंगे। द वे ही प्लेज, इनका नेचुरल गेम है। इसी अंदाज ने हमें टेस्ट मैच जिताया है इंग्लैंड में, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में 2 बार, इंग्लैंड में अगेंस्ट इंग्लैंड होम। इनका एक स्टाइल है, वो एक अलग स्टाइल है। हाँ, कभी कभी उनको रोकना पड़ेगा कि तीसरी चौथी गेंद पे आके आगे ना मारे, पर अगर एक खिलाड़ी 3.4 इनिंग्स के बाद खेल रहे हैं, तो फिर आप विराट कोहली और रोहित शर्मा के बारे में क्या कहोगे? विराट कोहली तो 10-10, 11 पारी के बाद रन मारते हैं। तो एज फार ऋषभ पंत हैज गोज, अगर ऋषभ पंत हर 3-4 पारी में ऐसी इनिंग्स खेलेंगे तो बहुत सफल होंगे अपने करियर में। Sai Srivastav, what's your view on Virat Kohli getting out to spinners? Sai, I guess you've joined this show late. I've already answered this question about half an hour ago. He definitely has cobwebs of the mind. You can sense, okay, whatever's going wrong with him technically and off the field, it's got to him. Because, like I said, the biggest glaring feature of this whole lean run he's had, for me, it's not about the fact that he's not got 100. It's about the way he's getting out to spinners. And like I said earlier, be it Moeen Ali, be it Adil Rashid, be it Mitchell Santner, be it the Sri Lankan spinners, be it Aiden Markram, very, very worrying. His game, he's doubting his game so much now that he's getting out to spin. That is the most alarming part of Virat Kohli's lack of runs for me. चलिए एक आखिरी सवाल लेते हैं। माना जाए ऋषभ के टेक्निक में कुछ बदलाव लाने की जरूरत है, हर बड़े शॉट में लेफ्ट हैंड, पर वही है दोस्त, वही यही शॉट जब चलता है तो इसी एक हाथ को छोड़ के वो 6 मारते हैं। सो आई एम नॉट, देखो मैं टेस्ट क्रिकेटर नहीं हूं, मैं इतना ज्ञान नहीं देख सकता किसी के ऊपर टेक्निकली। मेरा सिर्फ ये पॉइंट है कि इसी अंदाज में जब चलता है और जब वो बाउंड्री पार करते हैं तो हम कहते हैं वाह। आई एम नॉट गोना रीड टू मच ऑन द फैक्ट कि उनके हाथ से एक बैट छूट रहा है, क्योंकि ये इनका गेम है। हाँ, थोड़ा उनको टेम्परामेंट में शायद बदलाव लाने की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, बट overall, look, Rishabh Pant, when he plays this way, we say, wow. When he fails every 3 innings, we say, oh, kya hai? I just think we need to accept that this is a rare talent, जिनका career बहुत बहुत prosperous होगा आगे जाके। दोस्तों, थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग दिस लाइव स्ट्रीम। इट्स बिन अ प्लेजर बीइंग बैक टू यू। अगेन मैं माफी चाहूंगा कि मैं इतने हफ्ते बाद यहाँ पे आया था। लाइक आई अंडरलाइन एट द स्टार्ट ऑफ द शो द रीजंस व्हाई आई वाज नॉट अराउंड, बट आई विल बी हियर ऑल थ्रू दिस टेस्ट मैच सीरीज एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स ड्यूरिंग द आईपीएल। तो थैंक यू फॉर योर कमेंट्स, थैंक यू फॉर लाइकिंग दिस। डू शेयर, सब्सक्राइब एंड प्लीज क्लिक द नोटिफिकेशन बटन ताकि आपको मालूम पड़े कि मैं कब क्रिकेट फेबल्स पे आऊंगा। Thank you once again. Have a great weekend and please come back tomorrow, day 2, for more analysis and reaction from me here on Cricket Fables. Goodbye for now.